And we are live. Yes, Ring Kings podcast is back. Devin Haney defeats Vasyl Lomachenko by unanimous decision. Surprising, I think. No matter who you thought won, I think it was a little surprising, right? I thought Devin Haney won the fight, but I was surprised that they gave it to him, right? Very pro Lomachenko crowd, very pro Lomachenko network, ESPN, right? Very pro Lomachenko promotions, Top Rank. I figured something that close, it was going to be Lomachenko. I was surprised they gave the fight to Haney. If you thought Lomachenko won, obviously you're surprised by that outcome, but it was a very close fight. I actually had it 7-5, like two of the judges scored it seven rounds to 5 for Haney. B, Mikey, your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about the fight? Well, before that, quick shout out to everybody who's coming in here. What's up, Vasyl? Yes, Mr. J the Six says that wasn't unanimous. Well, yeah. I mean, who did you have winning?
New
right?
Avatar. See, I like it.
Yeah, what you got here? What you got there? What is that? Oh, okay. Nice.
That's That's a Lakers fan hiding his face. That's what that looks like. He got the gold hoodie.
Hey, I got Hendo from the Rogue Pod, best boxing podcast around. Indeed. Will G is in the house. Says great fight. What's up, guys? What's up, Will G? My bad. Well, I gotta send you a message. We gotta get this newsletter on and popping. We'll talk. We'll talk. Appreciate you coming through. Our guy Suge Knight 323 says, Brodny, it's a bad night. Hey,
man, it's still a good night.
Hey, salute to Suge, man. Suge's been covering the Lakers series. He's been doing post game streams, great streams. Check him out. Go subscribe. Suge Knight 323. Suge Knight 1323 if you're on Twitch.
Yes.
All right. Rock son, what's up, Rock? He says great fight. It was a good fight. I thought it was a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He says and still. Yep. And still. All right. So, gentlemen, your thoughts? Like, how did you feel about the fight?
Absolute robbery. Now it was a very very close fight. I had it 6-5 with one even for Lomachenko, but I mean there were a lot of really close rounds. So I'm not mad that they gave it to Haney. I'm surprised that they gave it to Haney because I figured that I figured there would have been some people who wanted Loma to get those belts back, and maybe they had scorecards in front of them, but. I thought it was a great fight. You had. I thought that Haney, I thought he could have possibly won easier had he stayed on the outside a little bit more and tried to control the range. But part of the problem with Haney is he doesn't really have the power to keep somebody at bay, especially someone with the footwork of Lomachenko. But he did very well, even fighting. Lomachenko's fight. Every time Lomachenko got in, like Lomachenko has faster feet and faster hands. He's a very accurate puncher, and he was landing a lot of combinations. But every time he came in, he was paying for it with Haney digging to the body, and that was kind of the story of the fight. And it was just kind of the announcers kind of said it at one point. It's what do these judges like more? Do they like the consistent body work, or they like seeing the head snap back with the combination punch and the clean shots to the head? And clearly these judges preferred the body work that Haney put in. But overall, I thought it was a great fight. Not a terrible decision by any means.
Yeah, good fight. I agree with what you're saying, B. Haney, look. We always said that back when Haney fought Kambosos and he went to Australia, and we were saying, look, man, he got to go over there and he got to have a 50-point night in the Garden, and he did. He did it twice. This, close fight. I felt like, man, this is not. He doesn't want this, right? We know how Bob Arum feels about. Loma, so close fight. I just thought that it wouldn't be in Haney's favor, but either way it would have gone. I wouldn't have been mad. I'm mad at that 116. Was it 116, 112 card?
Yeah.
I'm a little upset with that. But good fight, close fight. I think Haney like you said, B, I think Loma did enough, right, to take Haney out of his comfort zone, and get him out of his game plan, right? Like you have the longer reach, you're the bigger guy, and Loma kind of took that from him, right? And I
Mhm.
think part of that, as you said, that lack of power to keep him off of him, um, you know, that made Loma feel comfortable, even with all the shots that he was catching the to the body, and I think Dev did a solid job counter punching tonight with a check hook. Sometimes when he came in uppercut, he was catching him a little bit, and
Mhm.
then the body, but it didn't phase him. It didn't phase Lomachenko, and then you saw in the championship rounds, man, Lomachenko, he felt comfortable going in there and standing in there because he wasn't afraid of his power. So, and I also think Lomachenko was a lot stronger and a lot quicker than Devin expected,
Mhm.
right? So good fight though, man. And Lomachenko looked good. I thought he was done. I thought he was headed on the back nine of the career, which I think he 35 years old. We'll
Yeah,
see
Yeah.
where he
probably
goes
is.
from here. But yeah, it was a good fight, man. And Devin, you know, hopefully he learned from this fight going forward. Obviously this was his best fight. But he can't fight like that against somebody like Shakur or Tank.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, shout out to our guy Chris, just joking
What's
from
up,
the Deep
Chris?
Cover
What up,
Pod.
Chris?
Thanks for coming through.
What
Well,
up? What
G
up?
said he said Haney did just enough in the 12th to change the tide, knock the champ down or out, never let it go to the cars. Rule number one. Well, I'll tell you this. Like I thought I saw a lot of similarities, and I think somebody pointed out on the broadcast to this fight and Lomachenko and Teofimo fight. Similarities, not the same, because I think what Teofimo did in that fight was bully Lomachenko a lot early on, to a point where like even Teofimo's dad said this is a blowout. It looked that way.
Yeah.
Lomachenko got back into the fight and it looked like he started turning things around, but then that 12th round, Teofimo imposed his will again, right? And that's ultimately what did it for him. In this fight, I think those early rounds, there's a lot of close rounds, but obviously Haney can't impose his will. He can't, he's not a strong fighter. But I think he did enough to win those early rounds in a lot of those judges' eyes. By the time Lomachenko was trying to be a little bit more forceful with it, yeah, it turned the tide a little bit. But then that 12th round, I thought he lost. Right? I thought, okay, you had an excellent 11th round. It looked like you might even hurt Devin Haney. But then the 12th round, you didn't jump on him. Like you let him gain control again. And I think that's really for at least those two judges, what really those 115, 113 cards. I think that 12th round really decided the fight for Devin Haney. Otherwise, we could have been looking at a draw, like a split draw or something like that. And Will G says, I know nothing about Shakur, but I know Haney has zero chance against Tank. Hey. Hey.
Yeah. I'll say this. He doesn't really have much chance against Shakur either. He's just not on. I don't think he's on the level of those two guys. Tank will tear him apart.
I will say, I'll say this: the style that Shakur has, like Shakur isn't that. I mean, he can put it on you, but he's not that imposing. Like he doesn't really press the issue either. He's more of a counter puncher, I would say. Right?
Yeah. And he's not a big power guy either.
Yeah. I think he has more power. But
yeah.
like he's not gonna press. I don't think he would press Haney the way Lomachenko pressed Haney tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and he once again, like we've been saying on the show for months and months and months and months, stop saying Tank's name, because if you get in the ring with Tank, he's going to end up looking like Maloney did on the undercard.
Yeah,
and it'll be very early.
Like Chris said, he let him off the hook in that 12th round. Word to Dennis Green. That's right.
Yeah.
Rod wants to know how much of Haney's lack of power is no power or weight drain at 135. Now, I just said before we went live, he did look drained, right? He looked different even from the Kambosos fight, when I thought he looked a little sucked up. right?
But he didn't have power before that either. So I
No,
mean,
he didn't.
he's never been a power puncher, so it's not that.
Yeah. But that weight train, I'm glad he brought that up because I saw him at the weigh in. He did not look. He looked sickly, right? And even tonight, I feel okay. He'll put some weight back on, but even tonight, I'm just like, yeah, he still looks a little. I don't know, right?
Now, I will say this: if he does decide to go to 140, because he mentioned that might be in the cards because it is difficult for him to make 135. If he does decide to move up to 140, I would hop directly in the ring with Teofimo Lopez.
Yes,
because Teofimo's got power, but he will box circles around Teofimo.
yeah. Easy pickings right there. What else we got here? What's up, Brent? He says, it's crazy how much. Talking about Vasyl. Yes, Vasyl supports. He says, crazy how much you support. Yeah, Vasyl, that's our guy right there, man. Salute to you. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you guys coming through. 1 a.m., 1:18 a.m. You guys in here, man. Hit that like button. If you're new in here, hit that subscribe button. Most of you guys, you guys already know how we do, man. Every Wednesday night, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time is the LBHT show. Mondays, most of you guys are Ravens fans in here. We do the Ravens roundup Monday on Sip to Tally with Chris. That's in the chat. Everybody you see here, and also Hendo from the Road Pod. All right, that's 9 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you are subscribed to Sip to Tally Films, and make sure you subscribe to Lunch Break Hot Take, and also Mr. OTR Mike here, Open Mic with OTR Mike. All right. Should I say, who doesn't support the Lakers bench? Oh, here we go. We're gonna say that. We'll talk about that on Monday, I'm sure. We'll talk about that on Wednesday, Joe. Suge is a Lakers fan. There. Not a good night. He said, Rock says, Tio is rough. What are you saying there? See, Tio is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure what you meant there, but Teofimo, man, he's lost his way a lot. Yeah. And I blame his father for that. Right. I think Teofimo, I don't think he's, he asked himself after his last fight, after the Sandro Martin robbery that he got, he wanted to know if he still got it. Well, I mean, you would have it if you had a different trainer. Your father is just, he keeps lying to you about how you're approaching these fights. He lies to you when you're in that ring on what you're doing. This is not the Teofimo that we saw fight Lomachenko. No. So, but tonight's fight, man, I thought I thought those body shots made a world of difference. I was wondering too if the judges were going to respect those punches, because I think those punches added up, and you could see it down the stretch when he really focused on the body. Lomachenko is reacting to it, right? That's usually what happens when those body shots accumulate. When you get into those later rounds, you don't want to take those shots anymore, right? And I think because of that, because he focused so much on it, it's easy to dismiss early in the fight because fighters like that, well-conditioned, are going to react, not visibly. But towards the end, he did start to visibly react. And I think they looked at that and like, yeah, he landed a lot of those tonight, So definitely significant punches there. And hey, man, look, close fight. Congrats to him, and we'll see what's next.
Yeah, well, I think what's next is we gotta talk about the other big time fight from today. That was Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron.
Yes,
it took place earlier on in the day. It was over in Ireland, and Chantel Cameron won. I believe it was was that also unanimous? I think that was a unanimous decision as well. I can't remember now.
No, I think it was split, right?
Was it split?
Yeah. No. It was majority decision. One was a draw.
Okay, yeah, right. But another very entertaining fight. Katie Taylor, one of the biggest stars in women's boxing, particularly over in the UK, just a hero over there. She's another one who doesn't have great power. No. Sort of similar to Devin Haney, but super tough. Again, fast hands, those a lot of combinations, but Chantel Cameron is just a bigger, more physically imposing, physically stronger fighter, and really kind of walked her down all night.
Yeah.
She was getting hit, but she was basically just walking through it, and she was throwing some big shots to Katie Taylor all night, and they added up. Katie was exhausted by the end of that fight. I don't know if you remember after the final bell, fighters always throw their arms up. Hey, I won. Jump off the ropes or whatever. She couldn't even lift her arm.
Yeah.
So
that one was tough for me, man. Like, no matter how they judged that one, I wouldn't have argued. That fight was tougher for me than Katie Taylor and Serrano. I thought Serrano just straight up won that fight.
Yeah,
that one surprised me. But this one, I was just like, man, y'all got it. Whatever you guys decide, I'm gonna just go to say, yep, that one was super close. I was surprised because, again, a close fight like that in Ireland, I was like, yeah, no way they're going to give it to her opponent. But yeah, they gave it a win. So two surprising decisions that I wouldn't call them bad decisions. That fight and Devin Haney fight, I wouldn't call them bad decisions at all. But that Katie Taylor fight, to me, it seemed like I was like, man, I don't know. That can go either way.
Yeah, Katie Taylor is tough, man. Like,
yes.
when you think she's done, like she finds a way to fire back and come with it. Like, so she's super tough. I thought that was a good fight, but I did think that Chantel Cameron, I thought she won the fight. But I wasn't mad at, if it went either way, because like I said, Katie Taylor is just super tough, and she already said, "Hey, I'll see you next time," because she has a rematch clause, so they'll get it on. And man, as we said on this show before, man, the ladies, man, they've been putting on the last year or two. They go right at the top, and you'll see the ladies move up in division because, Katie Taylor moved up for this fight. So and I think Serrano moved up to fight her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's they don't duck any smoke, right? And we've been a huge advocate for these fighters accepting the smoke, or as much smoke as they can get on this show. So hopefully we'll start to see that, on the men's side, man. I mean, we saw a good fight tonight. We saw Tank and Ryan Garcia a couple weeks back. Who knows what Fury's doing? Like, he's calling out these guys, so maybe we'll see something happen in the heavyweight division. There's been talk today of Canelo and Benavidez' team talking. The two teams are talking, two sides, so maybe we get that. I don't know. So maybe we're headed towards that. But shout out to the ladies, man, because they have been putting on for sure, and their fights are good fights. They're really good fights to watch.
Yeah, there's no kind of speculation. The fights just happen.
Yeah.
Rock's asking, is Josh Taylor still at 140? Yeah, he's fighting Teofimo on June 10th. I believe
he still holds the belts. Isn't he the undisputed champion?
He's not undisputed. He has the WBO belt. I believe a couple of those titles may still be vacant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe
he dropped them, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah. I try. It's been a while. I don't remember.
Boxing is tough to keep up with the belts.
Yeah,
it is tough. That's right. Because didn't Rolly just win one of those belts? Is that one of the belts that he fought for? Is that 140? He got some belt.
Yeah, he won a title. I forget which title it was. I didn't get a chance to catch that fight.
It wasn't like the regular belt either. It was like a belt.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shug.
Say it like that.
Shout out to Shug for the donation. Appreciate you. He says, you know who I wish showed up to fight? The damn Lakers. From what I was watching, of the fight after crying, Lomachenko seemed to be getting his shots in on Haney. But what does the Haney win do for LeBron's legacy?
Not much when he gets swept in the conference finals.
I don't think they get swept. But
I don't. They already did. I don't care. It's over.
Yes.
I don't care if you get a win in the next game. The series is over.
Yes, Rolly won, quote unquote, that belt. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, let me see which.
Trent 10
Yeah,
says, "What's
the
going on?"
WBA super light. So no,
Yeah.
it wasn't that. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
super light is that 140?
Well, I mean,
Lightweight is 135, I thought, and 140 is super light.
yeah, because it's either super or junior. So I
Yeah.
got confused for a second. So yeah, it is super light or junior welterweight. But yeah, he got the WBA title.
What's going on? It says Rolly has one, and Regis does Regis have one? I thought he just move up?
No, I don't think he moved up. I think he
Okay.
has one, and then and he just signed with Eddie Hearn was the news with him.
I think he is going to fight at 140 though. He said.
Rock said Regis he has one of the regular belts.
Yeah, Josh Taylor vacated 3 of the 4 world titles.
Yeah.
Apparently, so it will be no issue with mandatory, so he can make the Jack Catterall fight, which he didn't end up making. So,
yeah.
But apparently, yeah. So he vacated 3 belts.
So Will G wants to know who's the face of women's boxing right now.
Subriel Matias has one, Rolly has one, and Regis has one, and Taylor. So there's 4 champions in that division right now.
Okay. It sounds like there's some there's some belts that if Tank decided he wanted to go up and take some, he could take some.
That's a good question, Will G.
I think it has to be. I mean, even with the loss today, I think it has to be Katie Taylor.
I think most people would say Clarissa Shields, right? But I think Katie Taylor probably sells more than Clarissa Shields.
I don't think most people would say. Well, I mean, maybe most people would say because she's maybe a little bit of a bigger name here.
Most people here, I don't think. I don't know how well known Katie Taylor is here.
Right, but you also got to remember, like Katie Taylor and Serrano was the first time women fighters both made 7 figures in a fight.
Yes,
that was the biggest fight in women's boxing history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's tough because like over here, you think women's boxing, you think Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, right. That's because we don't like people who aren't from here.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna give it to Amanda Serrano. I think she has become, I hate to do it, but shout out to the Paul brothers, for what they're doing, or Jake anyway, what he's doing as a promoter, man. But Jake had a big hand in that 7-figure fight that you're talking about.
Why do you hate to do it, Mike?
I mean, I try to give him his props of what he, as a promoter, man, he does. He has made some moves, and he's got a lot of these ladies, especially Amanda Soriano, paid, and she was a part of. When was that fight? Last year or 2 years? Was it 2 years ago?
I believe it was 2 years now.
And that fight was probably the biggest fight of that year, men or women. But I would say those two, But I think Soriano has the story. You know what I mean? Katie Taylor's a little older; she's been around for a while. But I wouldn't be mad at either one of those. But I would say one of those two, the face of women's boxing right now.
So he asked 3 questions here: who's the face of women's boxing? Who's the best? And who's the most marketable? Now, the face, I would say Katie Taylor, right? I think that really depends on the region that you're in. In the U.S., it's hands down Clarissa Shields, but globally, probably Katie Taylor. Who's the best? I think that's Clarissa Shields. Who's the most marketable? I also think that's Clarissa Shields. I'm just doing a quick Google search. I mean, net worth is hard to nail down. Everybody has something reported, but it looks like, you see Clarissa Shields in a lot of like commercials, and she's doing a lot of different things. And you see her more on ESPN than these other fighters. I would say Clarissa Shields is more marketable. And I also think she's the best fighter, but I think Katie Taylor is more well known globally than Clarissa Shields is. Serrano, we love Serrano over here. I think had she beaten Katie Taylor, I think she won, but she won a decision, that'd have been different. So even though Katie Taylor lost today, I think a rematch between the two of them is still going to be huge. And Serrano wins that fight, that can really open some doors up for her. So,
Yeah, and I agree. I think Clarissa is probably the most marketable, like you said, because she does do a lot of other things. She's in PFL, she's in boxing, she's on reality shows, like so she's everywhere. Uh, and also Katie Taylor is like 37, 38 years old. She's on her way out. So she kind of came into that stardom very, very late. So it's difficult to say. I don't know that there, I said Katie Taylor, but I don't know that there is one face of women's boxing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. That's a good point.
I think they have a good 4 to 5.
Because you got Alicia Baumgardner as well.
Yeah.
Cecilia Brækhus. I know she's not as popular, and she's a bit older too, but she's been a great champion for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's several fighters.
I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're just joining us, Devin Haney gets the unanimous decision in a close fight over Vasyl Lomachenko. We gave our thoughts on it. Look, I thought it was a good fight. I thought the judges got it right. But I mean, it could have easily went to Lomachenko. I thought it was going to go to Lomachenko just because I felt like that was who all the people invested in the business wanted, at least in our opinion. So yeah, I think they got it right. I think Haney, listen, man, I like Haney. I don't like you. Obviously, I we're Tank fans here, but I still like Haney. But man, now it's coming down to fighting either Shakur or Tank, and I don't think he could beat either one of them.
And if I were him, I'd fight Kambosos again. I'm not. I know he's not afraid of either one of those guys.
It might be.
I know that, but
he look him laying the groundwork down, saying, "Look, this is draining me. I might have to move up." That might be his out to not have to fight any of these guys, right?
That won't save him from Tank. Tank will go right back to 140 and fight him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
Or he could take his time. Like he doesn't have to go right to Tank. Is what I'm saying. He doesn't have to go right to Tank because he drops those belts. Tank could fight for the vacant title against Shakur or whoever. Because at that point they're vacant. And Bob Arum doesn't necessarily control them. So he could fight for a vacant belt at 135. Devin Haney can go and fight one of these guys. Although Prograis, I don't know, that'd be tough for Haney too. But I mean, I'm saying there's different options for him if he moves up. He doesn't have to go straight to Tank next. He probably shouldn't stay there and fight Shakur at 135 either. So we'll see. There's definitely some. I mean, look, we already knew there's some holes in Devin Haney's game. I think tonight's fight, Lomachenko obviously is still, even though he's older, still an excellent fighter, and he exposed some things. Haney has the size, but he does not have the strength to keep him off. I think other fight, like a different fighter, would definitely made it tougher on Lomachenko to just kind of go in there and try to put it on Haney. But I thought Haney did well, considering, right? Mm-hmm. And because he's not a heavy puncher, he invested in the body, and I think that paid dividends in the fight. So very, very smart fighters. And I love Bill Haney's coaching. As much trash talking as he does outside the ring, I think he's an excellent coach. I'm listening to the corner, and he's giving them some very clear instructions on what to do out there. Right. I love seeing that. We talk about fathers being trainers for boxers. Both of these fighters have their fathers training them, and I think they're both doing a great job with their sons.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's important. It's important to know your fighters. I thought it was interesting that Bill had to tell Devin, I guess it was the 11th round or something, that hey, you're winning the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he knows his son well. I'm sure he knows his son as a son and as a fighter. So he must have seen something in his face, and he did seem a little nervous.
Yeah,
in those rounds, so maybe that's something he felt he had to tell him. But I thought it was interesting because that's something that we never hear. Devin never had to hear from, especially as of late, right? So, but you're right. Bill Haney, good trainer. I mean, Lomachenko, his dad, good trainer. Like they both teams had good game plans. I just think that Haney, he stepped away from his. I don't know what he was trying to do. I don't know what he was trying to do. Like everything that I expected him to do, he didn't really do. I expected him to be heavy on the jab, and that would be his way of keeping Loma away. Um, but he didn't. I don't know what.
I think he figured that Loma, his foot speed and footwork would be, a bit too much for him to just jab and keep him away like he did with Kambosos. He said, I'm probably going to fail at that. I won't be able to keep him on the outside that way. And it'll look worse to the judges if I'm trying to keep him out and he gets in anyway. So just let him in and we'll go at it that way. Because, I mean, again, we talk about Devin Haney's lack of power. Loma is not a big puncher either. So I doubt that he was too worried about, taking hits from Loma. But, it worked out for him, obviously. Even though I thought that you're winning the fight was a bold-faced lie at the time. He was correct. he did get the decision. So congrats to Devin.
I thought that was real interesting that he felt like he had to say that right there, to the undisputed champion. So
he just got whipped up on in the last 2 rounds. So
see, I felt like that going into that 12th round. I was like, man, I'd be telling him, look, you are winning the fight, but you have to close out. You don't want them stealing this fight from you, because I had Devin Haney up, but right there, Lomachenko turned it around, and everybody thought that Devin Haney might even have been hurt. You don't want Lomachenko going out there and winning convincingly that 12th round. That would change things. So I would have told him, like, this round, like, you're up, but you want to seal the deal here. But you know what though? Haney understood it, right? And he went out there and reestablished himself and took that round from him. I think that's what did it for Lomachenko.
And that's another thing that Bill Haney did too. I heard him tell him a couple times, like, look, man, don't let him steal these rounds at the end, right?
Yes.
You let him. So he did keep him aware, of what was going on. I just thought it was also weird, like Devin being the bigger fighter, right? Typically when he's the bigger fighter, we've seen with Kambosos, like he imposed his will. But there was times where Lomachenko seemed or functioned as the bigger fighter, throwing him around a little bit, which I thought may have. I personally think, like I said at the beginning of the show, that Devin found out early that Loma was a little quicker than he expected and a little stronger. Yeah. Right. Even to be a small guy, I think he's like, all right, this dude is not, he's little, but he's kind of strong. And I think that kind of threw Devin off of his game plan a little bit, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but there's a video floating of Lomachenko in the locker room crying, so I don't know. I didn't have the volume up on it. I don't know if he feels he was cheated or he feels like that was his chance.
He absolutely felt that way. I respect Loma, man, because he's very respectful. Like, you could tell, like, he had a smile on his face. He shook everybody's hand, in the ring, whatever. But you could tell he felt he was robbed, right? You could tell. And when you fight that close of a fight, man, I get it, right? I get it. You felt like you did everything right. No, I get it from his side. But look. Like I said, man, there's still opportunity for Lomachenko. One, Bob Arum absolutely loves you, right? So you want to keep fighting. He's going to give you another shot at it. Haney and Shakur, most likely will fight next if Haney stays there. If not, then Haney drops the belts, and then Lomachenko's going to have another opportunity. If Haney and Shakur fight, if Shakur wins, Lomachenko's going to have another opportunity. If Haney fights Shakur and Haney wins, I think Lomachenko's going to have another opportunity. Like, Bob Arum's going to put him in a position to get as many shots at that title as he can, So look, it's a tough loss for Lomachenko right now, but he can get it back, right? Will G says, I watched Tank for the first time thanks to you guys. Hey, salute. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. And land one punch and caused the volcano of blood. Yeah. Haney, no shot for the shots I watched him take tonight, if those are from Tank. Oh, yeah. Listen, Tank's power, everybody knows what it is. And Tank has been, he's becoming a smarter and smarter boxer in there, right? He's just not loading up on punches and trying to knock you out. He's setting you up well. And that's why I just think for Haney and Lomachenko, like those styles, I don't think they're good. It's a good matchup for Tank, right? Because Lomachenko does that. He does that a lot. Like what he did in this fight, he does that in most of his fights. Those last 20, 30 seconds of the round, he tries to steal it, right? He gonna impose himself on you. He's gonna go in and pressure you, right? And most fighters don't know how to take that. You don't want to do that with Tank. Tank knows exactly what to do with that, right? Oh, you want to throw hands? Cool. You got nothing for me. You don't have Tank's to take it. He's taking shots from stronger fighters, and it doesn't seem to phase him, right? So you don't want to mix it up with him. That's exactly what Tank will take, right?
Shout out to One Mike.
Hey, what's up, One Mike?
The way y'all talking, it sounds like Loma won. That feels like a bad look for Haney. I had Loma winning, but it was a very, very close fight. Very close fight. So it could have gone either way. I thought Haney fought very well. So I don't think it's a bad look for Haney. He fought a great fight. Loma fought a great fight as well. And, it was just very close. And they he got the decision. What would be a bad look for Haney to me is drop. I shouldn't even say a bad look, but I mean, it kind of looks that way. You're saying, I want Tank. I'm going to 140. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be a little bit of a bad look to me, but we all understand like he's having trouble making the weight, and that was gonna happen eventually anyway.
Yeah. No, like I mean, we're just kind of breaking down the nuances of the fight. I had Haney winning the fight, right? Loma started too slow. Straight up. I think he started too slow.
And it's funny that Mike says that because as I was saying what I just said, I was thinking that like, damn, we're talking like like Lomachenko fight.
Look, because we want Lomachenko to see this video. You want to tell him to keep his head up because we saw him crying, and we're just like, hey, don't cry. You're gonna get another opportunity. That's actually how it started, right? Because we're like, hey, he's gonna get another shot at the title, whatever. But really, what happened? I think he started too slow, and Haney got a lot of those close early rounds. And when he really tried to put that pressure on Haney, he found some success until that 12th round, and he let Haney take that 12th round for him.
He started faster than normal. I feel like he's going to see this video and be doing the Tyrese, what more do you want from me?
He did start faster than normal. He did. But and I think also the reason why it's coming off that way is like there's a lot of people that didn't give Lomachenko a chance in this fight. Right? Yeah. Just from the things that we named, Haney was coming in the bigger fighter, the younger fighter, he had the longer reach. A lot of us feel like Loma is on the downslide of his career. So it's and we saw last time he was in this type of fight with Teofimo, he got his ass whooped. So, a lot of people didn't give him that, give him a chance. So, we are pointing out more of what Haney didn't do. But like y'all said, he fought well, man. It was a good fight. Like I said, this should be something he should learn from. But there's a kid from Baltimore that he probably don't want to. He probably want to stay away from right now. And he's already setting up to, if I'm going to 140, he already said, and I ain't doing no rehydration clauses. We already know it's already setting up that it's not going to happen anytime soon. So, but yeah, man, salute to Haney. He looked good, and I do want to say Haney is uber talented and skillful. Like you could tell, he is very, very skilled in the ring. He's a very, very good counter puncher. And I just, like I said, I just think that he got caught off guard by Loma's speed. I think Loma came in, and Loma looked quicker to me than I've seen him in a minute. He looked a step or two short against Teofimo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a step or two slow against Lomachenko. I mean against Teal. So I think, I think that caught him off guard. Caught me off guard. I did not think he was going to look that fast, but he was still, doing his angles and getting off 2 and 3 punches at a time. So I think that caught Haney off guard. But yeah, shout out to the kid, man.
Could you say, Jose, that Loma was downloading?
He was downloading.
I think part of why it seems like we're really down on Haney and talking about him that way is because he's 24 years old, which is very, very young. He's accomplished a lot, obviously, in a very short time. He's the undisputed champion. He said it was his 8th title defense. He said tonight, but I think
7.
I mean, I don't know. He said 8, but he's 24, and I think we all see the impending doom of his reign at 135. It's like you're at the top. You're the undisputed guy. You just got the biggest win of your career over. I mean, and he said probably a future Hall of Famer in Loma. Whether he deserves it or not, we don't need to. We don't need to go into that right now, Mike. but then you look, and it's
was he 12-3 now?
He's 17-3. All right,
my bad.
He has more wins than Haney has knockouts. Like, I mean, that's a thing. But no, like he's done all that. He wins the fight, and you look, and it's Shakur and it's Tank. And I don't know that there's many people anywhere that think he can win either one of those fights. So it's like you're 24, you've done all this, you just, this is the height of your career up to this point, and everybody's looking at you, and it's like, well, it's all downhill from here.
What's up, Adi? Adi says, Devin Pillow Hands gets smoked by Shakur and KO by Tank. Look, so I'm gonna go back to what you're saying, B. The reason why we're looking at his quote unquote impending doom, right? The reason why we're looking ahead so much is because he makes us look ahead, right? This goes back to the episode. If you guys haven't watched our Ring Kings episode on Sell Your Own Fights, watch that episode, right? Because this directly relates to Devin Haney.
Because you want to see a fight that Devin Haney lost? It's that one.
Yeah. He's not selling his fights enough. I think had he been more in the moment on a lot of these fights, yeah, we would compare him and Tank, obviously, right? But we wouldn't be anticipating it as much because he's telling us, hey, I'm focused on this guy. Hey, I'm focused on this guy. That's why we talk about Tank. Like, Tank is never really talking about these other fighters. He's just focused on his fight. And after those fights, we're talking about what Tank did to that person, right? We're not talking about, when he fights this person, look out. It's just we're just kind of looking at what he did. Devin Haney could be that way too. We should be talking about Devin Haney that way. I think he's an excellent fighter, right? But he's always talking about
he's been saying Tank's name since the first Kambosos fight.
Yes, and the fight's not happening. We're just kind of like, look, man, like, okay, we're comparing every fight you do. We're comparing it to, well, if Tank was in there with you, how would that look? Right. So that's the mistake that he's making. And I get it. He's trying to build up hype for that fight, but we don't know when that fight's going to happen, And in the meantime, you're trying to make some money off of these fights. We talked about it before this fight, what this pay-per-view is going to do. I thought it was a good card, right? I was excited for a fight. It was a good fight. Obviously, I don't know how well it sold. It definitely is not going to sell like what Tank and Ryan Garcia sold.
No.
So, let's see here what we got. Will G says Tank is like Drago in Rocky 4, but smarter. Yep. You get to throw those combos and try your planned dance around Showboat, and then all of a sudden counter dynamite. Yep. Blast. Yep. What happened? Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Tank is a much smarter fighter now, right? Very skilled. He understands that he doesn't have to load up on punches. He doesn't have to go for that one shot knockout. Just follow your game plan, and your power will show, right? With a well-timed punch. You know, he's putting it all together right now. Nobody really wants to see Tank right now.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, Don Q. Yeah, Haney stay talking about Tank. Yeah, you do. I get it. And he's calling him out after this fight. But this is the thing. Because look, shout out to some of these other boxing channels. You know, there's a lot out there. And you know, we watch a lot of them. Entertaining. But they get too caught up on, hey, say this person's name. Hey, call it this person or whatever. Right? They're saying that after the Tank fight. Hey, he didn't call out Devin Haney. I want to hear him say I want Devin Haney next. Why? It doesn't mean anything, right? Devin Haney said tonight he wants he wants Tank or Shakur next, right? But like you said, also he wants to move up to 140, and I'm not taking any what do you call it hydration clause or whatever. Okay, cool. But if you move up to 140, then that fight may not happen next, right? So whose fault would that be? Right? And I don't like talking about whose fault it is for a fight's not happening. Just make the fight happen. Or don't talk about it. Right? You know, hey, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of names out there. I know you guys want to see me fight Tank. If we can get it done, we can get it done. But there's a lot that needs to go on. So, you know, we'll see. Right? That's honest. You know? Rock says Devin didn't have the coattail of Floyd to ride on and personal issues to move like Tank. Drama sells itself. Nah.
Coattails. That's not how anything works in boxing. You don't ride another fighter's coattails to being the biggest star in the sport.
But by coattails, you mean some, you know, his manager, his promoter, the things that Bob Arum should be doing at Top Rank for Devin Haney? Or Eddie Hearn before that, because wasn't he with Eddie Hearn before that? Like that's what a promoter's supposed to do is sell your fighter, right? He could have been taking these other fights, right? He could have been promoting the fights that he has now. Whose fault is that he didn't promote those fights? His fault and his promotion team's fault, right?
Well,
that has nothing to do with riding the coattails of Floyd. How's he riding the coattails of Floyd?
And with Devin Haney, like, listen, a lot of in any sport, the overwhelming majority of your fans are casual fans, right? You know, the hardcore fans are always going to watch Devin Haney fight. They're always going to enjoy Devin Haney's fights, but most people are not going to enjoy Devin Haney's style, as he's not a knockout, fighter. He doesn't go for the knockouts a lot, and it's not that kind of super exciting, slugfest that a lot of people like to see. Like even Will G in the Discord was talking about how normally he doesn't enjoy a fight unless there's at least one knockdown, right? And I mean that's just not Devin Haney, really.
Yeah.
So I see why we had the 116-112 fight because somebody gave Devin Haney the 10th round.
The 10th round, okay.
Which should have gone to Lomachenko.
Yeah. I don't like that card. And the part about the drama sells itself, whatever. What drama has Ryan Garcia been in? Right, Ryan Garcia is more popular than Devin Haney. Right, what trouble has Ryan Garcia ever been in? It ain't about that. Like, yes, I understand drama does self. Don't get me wrong, but that's not what we're talking about here. That's not what the difference is between what Tank sells for his fights and what Devin Haney sells for his fights. That ain't it. Let's see what we got here. Don Q says people should take the Mickey D's ad route. Just sell your product. No need to mention the competition. I agree. Audi says, didn't Haney get rocked by Linares? Yes.
Yeah.
Haney is doing his hardest to avoid Tank and will probably move up to 140. We'll find out. Rock said Tank lost his belt because missing weight on Floyd's undercard. Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that got to do with?
Didn't Devin Haney miss weight as well?
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, I don't know what are we talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, like, but what does that have to do? So, what is Tank on missing weight on that card? What does that have to do with what we're talking about now?
Because I know that when that happened, what we were saying about him was Tank's not ready. Tank's really immature. Tank blew it.
In fact, me and Mikey said this version of Tank can't beat Lomachenko.
Yeah.
Because at the time, Devin Haney wasn't in a conversation at that point, right? It was Loma and Tank, right? And we were like, yeah, this Tank ain't ready for somebody like Lomachenko. He ain't disciplined enough, right? Then somehow Devin Haney worked his way into the conversation, and deservedly so. But Tank is he's a different fighter now.
Rod says Tank's name was out there. Your name being out there for missing weight does not make you more popular, Rod.
Look, man, the fact of the matter is with Tank, what makes Tank box office is, you explained it well, B. His style of fighting, right? He fills seats because of the casual fan, right? The casual fan sees somebody getting knocked out, and that's what they want to see, right? That's what they look at for boxing. That's what they see it as. And he has an exciting style, and that's just what fills seats. Haney, Shakur, that's just not what they do, right? I think Shakur is becoming more of a household name. This is the issue. I think Haney, and rightfully so, right? He got all the belts. He feels like he should be in the place where Tank is. He feels like those 4 belts would make him star-studded, top of the game, right? And I think that's why he gave up so much for the opportunity for that fight, right? He thought, I can cut the line. If I'm able to cut the line here, get that fight with Kambosos, win, get the belts, I'm now the man. And it's just showing that the belts mean nothing right now, right? When it comes to selling and popularity and making money. And as you said, Jose, Ryan Garcia might have more followers than all of them, on social media and all of those things.
Well, he does. Not Mike. Yeah. He definitely does.
So it's not anything to do with Floyd. And then let's go a little deeper. Devin grew up fighting and preparing under the tutelage of Floyd Mayweather and in that gym. So he had the same Floyd influence coming up in the game as well early in his career. He's not promoted by Floyd. And then if you want to even go further, there was issue. That's why I was issue with Tank and Mayweather, because I don't feel like Mayweather himself did a great job of promoting Tank fights, because he doesn't. There's been a stretch where he didn't come, he wasn't showing up. Yeah. He had fights playing the same weekend and all of that stuff. So the popularity comes from he's just that type of exciting fighter. His style suits, and it brings in the casual fan.
And if you want to make it merit based, he's a better fighter than Devin Haney. It is what it is.
I mean,
regardless of Devin having the belts, because like you said, Mike, he did cut the line. He wasn't supposed to have that shot at those belts. That was Lomachenko's fight. But Lomachenko, he had to go and do his hero thing. And Devin jumped in there and said, "Hey, now I'm the man." No, you're not. So now you can say, "Hey, I'm the man now because I beat Loma." But again, Tank is a better fighter.
I'm gonna show you exactly why, Rock. I'm gonna tell you exactly why. Because look, Rock is a hardcore boxing fan, right? And when you're a hardcore boxing fan, you lose perspective of the bigger picture a lot of times, right? I get it, but casual fans sell or will determine your popularity. They're the ones that make big fights. It's not the hardcore fans; it's the casual fans. That's how you get from 200,000 pay-per-view buys to 1 million pay-per-view buys. Casual fans, right? And what do casual fans want to see? They want to see excitement. They want to see knockout, right? So look at what Ferris said when he thinks of Tank. That man killed Leo Santa Cruz, right? That's what when he thinks about Tank, that's what he remembers. He remembers that knockout. Will G earlier said the first time I watched Tank, because we said check out Tank, he hit Ryan Garcia so hard, blood squirting out his nose. That's what he remembers, right? Hey, go check out this guy, great fighter, putting people out. And when you go and see him fight, he's knocking people out, right? That's what gets people excited. That's what gets celebrities out there watching your fights, right? Devin Haney, we like Devin Haney, right? But when you go tune into a Devin Haney fight, what you saw tonight is what you're going to get. And for the casual fighter, it's a little harder for them to get into that unless he's completely dominating that way, right? No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna, even if he is completely dominating, it's not enough. Because what was the reaction to Canelo completely dominating John Ryder?
Well,
Wasn't
no,
good enough, right?
well,
You know,
John
people want
Ryder.
no, but I'm saying like but that's the thing. Like people will say, "Hey, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's this big superstar. John Ryder is not on his level." And yes, he won 12 out of the 12 rounds. But the question it's not, "Oh man, that was a great performance by Canelo." It's why didn't you knock him out?
No, so look, I think, I mean, we're talking about Floyd Mayweather, right? And we're talking about, I mean, Rock was saying that Tank is riding Floyd's coattails. He's not riding. He's not, right. Yes, he's managed by Floyd. He doesn't act like Floyd in any way. I think Devin Haney tries to follow that model, that Floyd model, more than anything. I think the way he talks in interviews and everything is more like Floyd. Kind of his attitude, even the way he fights a little bit, is more like Floyd, right? But the difference is, the reason Floyd was selling the way he was and Devin Haney isn't is, yeah, Floyd he later half of his career, because early career he was knocking people out, but the later half of his career where he really blew up, he was beating legends. He was beating Hall of Famers soundly, right? He may not knock him out, but when he fought Canelo, he embarrassed Canelo. When he fought Pacquiao, he embarrassed Pacquiao, right? And people may not necessarily like the way he fought, but you had to tune in to see if he was going to lose, because everybody was promising this is the guy that's finally going to do it. And you go in there and watch the fight, and nope, that guy, he's just getting worked. You know,
I said no one knew Canelo until he was heard of on Floyd's undercard and built off of Floyd's coattails. Floyd's coattail or buzz. Is he the only fighter who ever fought on Floyd's undercard? Why wasn't Adrian Broner the face of boxing? Why wasn't what's his name? General Draw. God, I can't remember his name.
You're not talking about my guy Badu Jack. We will not disrespect.
Why isn't Badu Jack one of the faces of boxing?
Time out. We're not going to disrespect champion Badu Jack. Okay,
17 straight draws. Why weren't they the faces?
That's my
of
guy.
boxing?
Salute to Badu Jack, man.
Why weren't they?
Badu Jack?
Don't give me this BS. AB sold. I asked you, why wasn't he the face of boxing? Is what I asked you. Yeah, a lot of fighters sell.
Yeah.
No, why wasn't he the face of boxing? That's what you're talking about. That's what Tank is. That's what Canelo is. That's what you're saying. And you're saying they got that just by being on Floyd's undercards. That's not true.
No, you're doing too much, B. You're doing too much.
No, your boy Rock is doing too much.
Okay, yeah. You're saying the reason why. Wait. I just want to be sure where I'm understanding where you're coming from, Rock. Your argument is the reason why Tank is bigger than Devin Haney is because he rode Floyd's coattails. Is that your argument? I don't want to lose track here, right?
Yeah.
Because if that is your argument, then why didn't Devin Haney go under Floyd? There's no reason why he couldn't have signed with Mayweather Promotions. He left. He went and signed with your boy Eddie Hearn. I know Rock hates Eddie Hearn, and then he left and went to Bob Arum. Why'd you do that? And then he re-signed with Bob Arum. At any point he could have signed with Floyd, especially when Tank was on his way out. Why did he stay?
I'm still trying to figure out how being on Floyd's undercard and having more exposure to him not performing well and missing weight made him a superstar.
Listen, fight on the undercard of Floyd's pay-per-view definitely will give you a boost if you perform well, and he didn't look great.
But that's what I'm saying. That's my point. He's trying to say, oh well, he missed weight and he looked bad, but his name was out there, so he's a bigger star. That's not how that works. If people's exposure to you is that dude didn't look nearly as good as they told me he was, that doesn't make you a star.
Yeah, listen, Floyd definitely put Tank in positions to be seen, right? But that's the business side. That's not you talking. He found one undercard of Floyd. That's it, right? Yes, Floyd is out there, promoting him. Yes, Floyd is using his name to help get eyes on him for sure. All that's true. All that is true, right? That's what you're supposed to do as a promoter, right? That's what De La Hoya is supposed to be doing with his fighters. But yeah, that's part of your job. And did it give it give him a little bit of a boost? Yeah, but what really did it was Tank performing. Like we have two examples in the chat, right? Ferris is telling you about what he remembers when he saw Tank fight. Will G's telling you the first time he saw Tank, because he heard us talking about Tank. The first time he saw him was a spectacular knockout, right? Like that's what gets people, plugged in.
But let me ask you, what do you think would be more valuable? Right? I know that Floyd is huge and Floyd sold a lot of pay-per-views and all that. So being on the undercard of Floyd's pay-per-view or being on ESPN for free multiple times, like Devin Haney was. ESPN is the biggest sports network in the world. Why wasn't he able to take advantage of that? Why didn't he go out there and put on a performance and gain a lot of fans from just being on for free, which is not what Tank was. Tank was on the undercard of somebody else's fight.
Yeah. Floyd did a great job for Tank. I agree. But at this point, Devin Haney has been in the business long enough. Bill Haney, they've been in the business long enough that they feel like, man, we could, Tank is getting this boost because of Floyd. Why aren't they going under Floyd? There's nothing that's keeping them at top rank other than them.
And listen, bro, you can't just keep saying undercard of Floyd. That means nothing. That's not a fit. That's not an argument. You can't just keep on repeating that.
So unless you're saying the only way you can blow up is by being on the undercard of Floyd, which isn't true, because how do you explain Ryan Garcia?
How is being on the undercard of a pay-per-view better than being on for free where far more people can see you?
Right.
How is that? Go ahead and explain that one to me, Rock. Explain how being on for free on the biggest sports network there is, with them promoting you, is worse than being on the undercard of someone else's fight on pay-per-view with far less eyes.
I know when Tyson Fury fights when Tyson Fury fights for free on ESPN, it does pretty well. Right.
And I know a lot of people who buy pay-per-view, they are not really paying attention to them undercard fights.
No, they're not. They're not. Wait, did you do something?
I think I accidentally did that. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, I got it.
Okay. There we
go. Yeah. Adi says, yeah, knockouts draws the casuals. Thank you. Yeah. Floyd is under the wing with Haney and Tank, but Tank outshines because of his knockouts. That's it. That's what fans want to see, and Tank delivers in all his fights. We all know this.
I think Rock using the phrase coattail is what messes up. But I understand what he's saying. Like, we did find out about Canelo maybe sooner than we may have, with him being on the undercard of Floyd. We did get a boost or find out or see Tank with him being on the undercard. Of course, it does something for you, but you have to, as y'all been saying, you have to perform for people to say, hey, hold up, let me watch this kid. Let me check out this kid when he, going forward. Because typically, even for me being somebody that's into boxing, I might watch it. I watch all the fights, and I'll see an undercard fight, and I'll see a kid, and I'm like, right. And then the next time, I see him, and I think Xander Zayas is a perfect example for this. Right?
Yes,
seeing Xander on an undercard of, I guess it had to be Berlanga, or maybe even
I think it's Berlanga. Yeah,
I think they both were undercard fights or something before early on. So seeing somebody like Xander Zayas, you say okay, and then the next time you may remember, you may not, right? But then the next time he's on a card, you're like, oh, that's that kid that fought on this card, or whatever the case may be. And then so not to say it doesn't put you, give them a push, but you gotta perform in order to keep that push going. There's been a lot of people who have been on undercards to promote or coming off as like, oh man, this guy has potential to be a top prospect, and they lose or they squander that opportunity. So you got to still take hold of the opportunity and do what you got to do. Tank, yes, he missed weight. He had problems with making weight early on in his career, and I'm sure he realized, like, if I'm going to really do this, then I got to get together, and he has, right? But he could have very well squandered that opportunity as well. But I think using coattail is where we might be taking it the wrong way. But
Yeah. I mean, what he's saying is it's the only reason he got that big is because Floyd made him that big. That's what he's trying to suggest, and that's not true because
and he means it the wrong way because he's a Devin Haney super fan and not so much for Tank.
and I see what he's saying. He said Floyd maneuver Tank. Yeah, I mean, look, they're saying it's been said that Floyd has handled Tank with kid gloves, right?
So I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, he because he said the way Floyd maneuvered Tank in his fights along the way, Tank knockouts against lesser opponents boosted Tank. That's I mean, that's relative. That's what you see. You know what I mean? I don't think he fought lesser opponents. I think that Tank fought people and he just made people look really bad.
He's trying to make that argument now because again he's a Devin Haney super fan. Before he said Isaac Cruz was on his pound for pound, his top 10 pound for pound list.
You did say that, Rock. You did say that.
And after Tank beat him, oh well, he ain't really that good. Tank ain't fought nobody.
No. He put Isaac Cruz on his pound for pound list after.
But I'm talking about like later on when it started, when he thought that Haney was going to fight Tank, then it was, well, Tank ain't really fought nobody. You know, Isak's not that good, blah, blah, blah.
You did say that. Tank has a better resume than Devin Haney, right? Like his opponents are better. Like Leo Santa Cruz, wasn't he a 3-division champ? He was undefeated.
I don't know if he was undefeated.
I think he had an L in that fight, but he was a champ.
I
just think he makes people. We've talked about this before,
right? Did somebody mention Rawley's name? Talk to me about Isaac Cruz.
Nobody say anything about Rawley. Yeah. I mean, do you want me to pull up BoxRec and look at Devin Haney's fights? They weren't all. I mean, listen. Devin Haney is a good fighter. I don't want to go down this road, but when you tell a casual fan, you need to check out Devin Haney fight, and they turn on this fight against Lomachenko, and people are like, "Yeah, I think he lost." What do you think that does to the casual fan? Are you think they're pumped to see him fight the next time? They watch this fight and they're like, "All right, I mean, looks all right. It looks like the other guy's winning, right?" Right, and then you know you got some to it for another fight. What does that do for the casual fan? You think a casual fan wants to spend $80 to watch this guy the next time? No, right? Yes, us, because we we watch boxing and we know how good he is, and we know like Lomo's a good fighter. But no, like nobody thinks that.
Right. I says no one Tank fought is on the level of Loma. Please do not sit in our chat at 2:15 in the morning and try and pretend that you didn't say Haney had a better resume before this when he hadn't fought anybody. Please don't do that.
I do have a question for Rock. So in a Tank and Haney fight, who do you have, Rock? Honestly, I mean, you're entitled to be a fan of whoever you are. Do you think Devin Haney beats Tank in a fight? And then also to swing it back to Devin Haney, Lomachenko's manager says they will appeal this decision.
Yeah.
So and then there has been some interesting comments from some other fighters. Shakur said he lost. Ryan Garcia said he lost. So yeah, it's and Lomachenko has said Linares.
All right, don't cop please now, right? He says not now, not at 135. So no, the answer is no.
Teofimo are better than Haney in Lomachenko's opinion. So yeah.
Oh no, he's saying Tank gets Haney at 135. You think Haney would get Tank at 140?
How?
No.
You know, Rock, that Devin Haney couldn't even dream of hurting Tank. How do you think he wins that fight?
This is a good question by Will G. Guys, do you think this helped Haney more or hurt him for his future fights in popularity? See, I thought it was a good fight overall. But again, if we're talking about casual fans, right? This is what we try to do on the show. We try to bridge that gap between casual fans and hardcore fans, true fans, if you will, right? How did you feel about the fight, Will G? Right? I guess I gotta ask that. Like, how did you feel about that fight? I'm not sure if you ever watched Devin Haney before tonight, but that's a question I would ask people that don't usually watch Devin Haney. Like, how did you feel about him? Because I thought it was a good fight overall, and we know Lomachenko was a good fighter, right? But just watching that fight, like, would you be excited to watch him and Shakur Stevenson? I know you said you haven't watched Shakur Stevenson fight, so I mean, if that comes on pay-per-view, are you excited to watch that? Are you anxious to go pay for that? Right? Probably not. But if you say, yeah, he's going to fight Tank, you know who Tank is, and you know what he's done in the ring, you're probably more likely to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and one mic, because I saw what you said earlier. You said, yeah, Floyd can put you on, but you got to be ready to shine and run with it, and that's what Tank did, right? He also said Shakur had been talking big shit after Haney fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, fighters do that to a certain extent. Like, you have to promote yourself in this business, right? Your promotion should be promoting you as well. But you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta sell fights ahead of time. So that's why I wasn't too hard on Devin Haney at first, talking about Tank, because you gotta build up anticipation. But the problem I have with him is he's talking more about Tank than he is about. I mean, what he did with the Kambosos fights, that to me, I was just like, especially that first one. I'm like, you're not selling this fight at all.
Like, I don't remember hearing him say Kambosos' name once in the run up to those fights.
Right. Like, focus on that right now. Hype up that fight. And he never did it. Controversy sells. I mean, all right, you're going back to that, but again, explain Ryan Garcia's popularity. What controversy has he had? Right.
Well, no, because Rock told us that wasn't going to be a big fight, Tank and Ryan Garcia, because no belts.
He said
and nobody cares. Ryan Garcia is not a real fighter, so it wasn't going to be a big fight. The real fight is Tank and Haney.
Okay. All right.
Like, come on.
He's out down the hill. Shakur, Devin, and Haney. Shakur, Devin. Well, Devin and Haney are the same people. Can beat each on any given day. Okay.
We're down the hill that Shakur and Devin can beat each other on any game. So again, I'll say this, Rock. I think their styles, because we all know styles make fights. I think their styles give Devin it makes that fight closer, right? Than it would be with Tank in either one of them. I'll say that. But if we talking Haney, I think their styles, Shakur and Devin's styles, will make it a closer fight than it would be a Tank and Haney fight. But I still think Shakur wins the fight. But I see what you're saying there. I don't think either one of them are great power punchers, which that plays a part. They both skilled. I just think Shakur is just a little too quick, a little too. I think Shakur is, and he's a little more skilled than Haney. So I think that would be the problem there. And Will G, I think this helps him. I think this helps his popularity. This won't hurt him. I mean, it was a good fight. Lomachenko has a lot of fans, casual fans and hardcore fans. So this is only gonna help him, but he has to What Haney has to do now is if this thing with him and Shakur is really going to happen, then they need to start locking that in ASAP. He has to capitalize off of this. While he's saying, I just was watching, he's saying he's now pound for pound number one, and him and Haney and Shakur had an exchange in the ring where he told him he's number one, and Shakur said, "For now, you are." So they gotta, if they're gonna do that, let's start building the hype of that now. But I don't think it hurts him at all tonight.
I don't think it really hurts or helps him. He did fight well, but like you said, Lomachenko has a lot of fans. He's a more popular fighter than Haney, and they all think that Lomachenko won that fight. So I don't think it's necessarily going to help him, but I don't think it hurts him. I thought he performed very well. So I don't think anybody's going to look at him and be like, "Oh, Devin's a fraud" or anything like that.
No.
No. So I don't think it goes either way for him. But getting in the ring with Tank or Shakur, that'll increase his popularity.
Yeah, he said I thought Vasyl had to close more on his combos when he had Haney in trouble. I thought Vasyl went more into the fight where Haney was strictly waiting for perfect setups or backed off. Yeah. Tank gives away too many rounds to lesser opponents. Again, I'm going to disagree with you. I think he's fought more quality opponents than Devin Haney.
He's downloading. He's downloading, Rock. He downloads early rounds. Tank does.
I don't know why you think that's an issue, as if Devin Haney's going to see the last bell fighting Tank.
And that's ultimately, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. I see you talking, my bad, Zay. I see you talking about neutralizing Tank power. That's a tall task. We haven't seen one person.
That's not going to happen.
Devin Haney can't neutralize. The only way you can neutralize Tank's power is by just being able to take the punch, because he's going to hit you. Devin Haney can't take that punch.
Man, listen. Props to Haney for beating Lomachenko, right? He was expected to win the fight. I think he was favored to win the fight. But before that, he didn't fight. Let's be real. Who did he fight that was on Ryan Garcia's level? Right? We talk trash about Ryan Garcia. He's a good fighter. Who did he really fight? Because I don't think Kambosos is a better boxer than Ryan Garcia.
No.
Right? Who did he fight that was on Hector Garcia's level? I don't think Kambosos was a better fighter or is a better fighter than Hector Garcia. Right? Isaac Cruz. Right? Like Leo Santa Cruz. Like these guys, Devin Haney has not fought. Right? And listen, depending on who you talk to, some don't think he won tonight. I think he won. But it was very close. All right. Almost got knocked out by what's his name? Who was that fighter? Linares. Right? People remember that.
Jojo Diaz gave him issues too.
Right? You've never seen Tank in trouble. Right. So let's keep it. Let's be all the way real about this, Rock. All right. You can like Haney if you think Haney. You're not even saying Haney will beat Tank. That's the funny thing, right? You're saying he can't beat him at 135. Okay. You said 140. Yeah. All right. Listen. Wherever he takes the fight, he takes the fight. I just don't see I don't think those 5 pounds are going to make any kind of difference for Devin Haney whatsoever. Will G says he will watch both fighters again, I guess, to answer your question. Okay, cool. There you go. You watch both.
Are you trying to say that Tank doesn't have boxing skills, Rock? Because again, you're completely ignoring the fact that he can't hurt Tank. Tank, if Tank wanted to, if he was still the Tank of old, could just walk through his punches to hit him. He doesn't do that anymore. He's a more skilled fighter than that now. But how on earth do you think he is going to prevent Tank from hitting him?
This is a good question here too. Will G, man, these are some good questions tonight. Will says, guys, I will not lie. Besides the Hall of Fame guys, I always been a heavyweight boxing fan. What does 135 to 140 in weight change for the fighter at that weight class? What does it do for power? 5 pounds. For some fighters like Devin Haney, it's just he's naturally bigger, And when you start out fighting smaller, it's easier to make that weight. And even when you're not that size anymore, you can cut down to that weight, and you can gain that weight back before the fight. It's just harder as you get bigger. It's a little bit easier if you move up in weight to do that. But what happens is, extra 5 pounds heavier, you're fighting guys that are naturally heavier, and they're going to balloon up before a fight as well. So if you don't know, right, what a lot of fighters do, they'll cut weight, they'll dehydrate themselves to make weight for a fight. Afterwards, you can rehydrate, and you can balloon up to 10 pounds or whatever, unless there's a hydration clause like Tank had in this Ryan Garcia fight. So if you heard Devin Haney mention that, that's what it was. He couldn't hydrate up to a certain weight or a certain time frame or whatever. But you'll see guys 10 pounds, yeah. But you'll see guys, they'll add an extra 10 pounds, even more sometimes going into a fight to get back to
you'll
more.
You'll see some guys add a good 15, 20 pounds coming into the fight.
Yeah. So that's what it is, right? And for Devin Haney, it's harder for him to make that weight. So, okay, he'll go up to 140, but now what you're having is, he might go into a fight at more natural weight, but these guys that are naturally bigger that are fighting at 140 are still going to be bigger than him, and they hit harder, right? And he already doesn't hit hard. So the further you move up, the less your power makes a difference. Even at 5 pounds, right? It makes a difference. Sometimes some people are just natural, knockout artists like Tank. So, he'll knock out a heavyweight, but for somebody like Devin Haney, who's already, he didn't have the power, he's not going to have that power moving up. And you've seen him hurt at 135. These guys hit a little bit harder, like that will make a difference. So
yeah, and to your listening there at the end, it's not going to do anything for Devin Haney's power, because even if you want to make the argument like Rock was trying to make, that he's struggling to make this weight and he's a little bit drained, okay, he moves up, he's not drained anymore, but like Jose said, these guys that you're fighting at 140 they're much bigger than the guys that you fought at 135, and they can take harder punches than the guys at 135, and he doesn't have the power to even hurt those guys, so it's not going to do much of anything for Devin's power.
And a good example of this is Canelo Alvarez, right? Great knockout power, kept moving up, showing that he can knock out the heavier guys, but he moved up too much, and he got in the ring with a guy where his power didn't matter, and Bivol just worked him, right? Mm-hmm. Because he thought he was going to be able to walk a bigger guy down and just knock him out, and he had nothing for Bivol.
And another example that would be Floyd. Right now, obviously Floyd had issues with his hands, his hands breaking as he moved up and got older. But if you watch Floyd later in his career, when he moved up to welterweight, when he moved up to 154, he wasn't really trying for knockouts at that point. Like he wasn't a guy who would go in there and really hurt fighters. He was outboxing people, right? Whereas if you saw Floyd in his younger days, he was killing people in the ring.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a devastating puncher early, but as he continued to move up, that was less of an option. I mean, even when he got to 147, I want to say it may have even been his debut at 147, but maybe not. But he fought Arturo Gatti, and he wailed on Arturo Gatti for as long every single round of that fight. But it just the punches weren't having the same effect.
To be fair, I mean. To be fair, Arturo Gatti, he could take a lot of punches.
He could for sure. He could for sure. But if you watch that fight, man, like it was every single person in that arena felt bad for watching Arturo get that beating.
They were gasping. They oh.
And I think the most recent example, one of the more recent examples, is Teofimo.
Yeah.
Teofimo at 135 had great power. Yeah, he moved up to 140, and it hasn't quite translated. He's fighting bigger guys. So, as Rock said, man, that 5 pounds is a lot. And, it's just hard. It gets harder for these guys to make that weight. You hear a lot of these guys. I remember Ferris saying earlier today, why do people fight at 135 if all the guys end up saying, "Look, I can't make the weight." It's not just there, man. A lot of them are saying it. I mean, Errol Spence has been saying for the longest time, and I really believe if this Terrence Crawford fight is not at 154, this will be his last fight at 147. He's gonna move up. You know, a lot of these guys, as you get older too, you know, you just hold on to weight longer, and it's harder to get it off of you, and without really draining your body and if you're not careful with that, man, you can do serious damage to your body when you gotta cut that type of weight, and as it gets harder, it's just more difficult. So some people, man, the power translates because you get to keep that weight, and it, you know, it gives you a little more pop, you know. But a lot of the smaller guys, man, as they move up, man, it kind of, you notice it with the smaller guys. It kind of takes away from that power, especially somebody like Devin who never really, you know, was known as a power puncher.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that explains it. So look, man, like I said, for the Devin Haney fans, you know, look, I thought that was a good win, you know.
And can I just interject something really quick? I'm sorry, but to Will, great questions, really appreciate it. But in the future, just like put them in the Discord, because we do a series called Sparring Sessions, and that's where we would answer those questions. I just thought about it. I'm like, man, we just did like 5 Sparring Sessions videos that we could put out separately.
You know, we can still do it. We can still do it. Okay. Not everybody's going to see this live stream. You know, we can put out a Sparring Sessions video. We can even, you know, put some cards up to link to this live stream where we explained it. All right. Excellent questions.
Go ahead.
But that is kind of the point of what we try to do here. You know, we try to do something a little different from what you will see on other boxing podcasts and YouTube, you know, streams and things like that. Try to answer those questions because, you know, if you're just getting into boxing, or you know, you kind of just, you know, you loosely follow it, things like that will go over your head, and most people don't really take the time to explain, you know, what that stuff means. And sometimes we don't even know. You have to look it up, you know. So I mean,
you good, Will.
Yeah. Boxing, you know, we love it. We want the sport to grow, thrive, but you have to be able to explain it to fans, you know, casual fans. You know, explain to them what they're watching and why it's a good thing or a bad thing or whatnot. So, yeah, there you go. We didn't even talk about the undercard, but one fight in particular.
You know why? Because I didn't watch it, Rock. All right. Don't nobody care about the undercard. No.
The world saw one. They saw one from the new Nakatani. I didn't realize, you know, listen, my American self, I heard Nakatani. I was just like, you know, they're all the same. No, this is the new Nakatani. Put out one of my guys, one of Maloney. Which one was it? Andrew Maloney put out one of the Maloney brothers.
Yeah, Andrew.
Oh my God. So when I first saw the Maloney brothers, I can't remember which one it was fighting for a title and he won, right? And I was like, okay, I like these guys, you know, they're up and coming, you know, they're pretty good. And I told B, it's like, hey, I watched the guys, they look, you know, the one brother looked pretty good. And ever since then, they've been getting knocked down in spectacular fashion.
I remember that too, because I'd never heard of them, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys are good. So like anytime I would see them, I'd be like, oh, let me check out the Maloney. I'm like, really?
And they fight, man. They get a lot of pub or these cards.
They do.
But I think Jason won a title last week.
Did he?
Yeah, he won a title last week.
Yeah. They're scrappers, right?
I bet that is a little solace tonight after he saw what happened to his brother.
Oh my God. Man. Okay, so if you didn't watch it, I mean, you'll see it on Twitter, you'll see it on YouTube highlights, whatever. He was so close to. I mean, he wasn't going to win the fight. He was so close to making it out of the fight. His corner told him at the end of the 11th round, said, "Listen, he had gotten dropped in the 11th round. Got up, and his corner told him, like, look, if we don't see something from you in this round, we're throwing in the towel." Which in my mind, I'm thinking, man, you better not. If I'm alone, I'm like, no, you're not. Like, I came this far. It's the 12th round. I'm gonna finish out the round. And Nakatani, what's his first name? Because that's not the same Nakatani as the other Nakatani. Junto. Yeah, Junto Nakatani.
I'm not 100% sure if it's Junto or Junto, but I think it's Junto.
Yeah. We'll go with Junto. But Junto Nakatani, it looked like he was showing them respect, and he just kind of coasting through that fight. Like, hey, okay, I did enough. I don't need to do any more damage to you. I respect fighters like that, right? And he's just coasting through the fight, and they're just kind of moving around. And 19 seconds left in the fight, he throws a looping left. Was it? I think it was like a left.
Yeah, it was like Tank and Garcia. He ducked under a punch, and he came with the overhand left, and Maloney kind of basically just threw his face.
He went back like that. Yeah, he dropped like a sack of potato. He just dropped. It was scary for a second, man, because he just went flat on his back, and his eyes were just closed. But he's okay.
If you go like to get the full impact of that shot, because I have not seen it since on Twitter. I see the the clip that they showed on TV, but go back and rewatch the fight, and you can just fast forward to the end if you want to see it. But ESPN plays the clip without the just the raw audio of it, and it literally sounded like a gunshot went off.
It did.
That's how hard he hit this dude. Like I've never, and they said sitting ringside that they were scared because like they've never heard, it was that loud that to them they were like, wow, like something that you got to get at. Y'all got to get in there, and they kept saying that. They kept saying right away they need to get, the paramedics in there or emergency. Yeah. They got to get them in there. But to get the full value of that knockout, please just go back and rewatch the telecast. Fast forward to the 12th round, and when they show the raw audio of it, the clip with the raw audio, oh my gosh, I've never heard a punch that hard. I've never heard it.
And Ferris, he did not fight Monster.
Yeah, there's the other one, right?
Yeah. But yeah, and Mike, to your point too, like we went to the Teofimo and Sandra Martin fight, and that was my first live fight, like in the arena, and it wasn't anything as bad as this, but just even the regular punches, like it's striking how loud all those hits are. And I'm like, how do you stand up to one?
Yeah,
like let alone 12 rounds,
bro.
That's just. I mean, we were close, but we weren't that close. Like I shouldn't have heard every single one of them punches.
Don't gloves, man. You catch somebody right, you hear that pop. Those serious punches. Like even the ones that don't look so hard from watching them from your couch, man, they hurt.
It's the same thing with football, right? Like those hits, those collisions are far more violent than they appear on TV.
Yeah,
like even routine hits.
Yeah, those guys are larger than life. So, yeah, it was a little uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, that's why they wouldn't even play the replay until he got up.
Yeah, yep.
Because that's when when I first turned the fight on. I was checking to see where they were in the card. He was already laid out, and I was like, damn. And they were just talking to him. They got him to sit up, and then a minute later they got him to stand up, and they're like, all right, well now that he's standing, we'll go ahead and play the replay.
Yeah. Because they didn't want to watch somebody get killed. They didn't want to replay that, right? Hey man, listen, the Maloney brothers, they're scrappy. Andrew should probably just look at it and say, great career, fond memories.
He was ranked number 2 in the division.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Those kind of guys, like those the Maloneys, Kambosos, like those kind of fighters, like you're real popular in your home country. Just find some mid-level, low-level guys and keep your career going. Don't push yourself in those positions. I'm sure
this is the conversation they're going to have with Top Rank tomorrow, right? That hey, moving forward, just give me like some mid-tier fights. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing huge, something that give me a paycheck. I don't want to be the gatekeepers, because that's what they're being popped up as, right? Gatekeepers for up and coming fighters. Don't put me in there with those fighters. All right. I want to be on your undercard of your free Saturday afternoon events.
I want to fight for the BMF belt. Like, you know, like don't be putting me in there with these undefeated guys. Like,
man. All right. Let's wrap it up, man. Hour and a half in, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah. Almost 3:00 in the morning, man. This is like a UFC stream. Good Lord. But yeah, good card. Listen, as much as I dislike Bob Arum, Top Rank has a ton of fighters. So anytime there's a Top Rank event, man, it's going to be a quality event for the most part. Oh, we ain't talk about Nico, the great one's grandson, Ali's grandson. He got a draw, didn't he?
Thank you, Rock. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you, Rock. Thank you. Yeah. So there we go. Nico got a draw. What do you want me to say? Listen.
So disrespectful.
All right, Nico Ali Walsh.
I didn't say talk about it. I just said.
I just want to say this real quick. He's one of those fighters. You're just kind of like, okay, we'll see. You know, he had a couple of fights where he got some knockout victories. He just like, okay, I don't see it right now. I'm not saying he ain't it, but I don't. He is still very raw. He still has a lot of work to do. They're trying hard to hype him up. You know, he's put in the work. You know, and he has some more work to do. I just don't think it was a great showing tonight.
You know, just put him in the same boat with the BMF guys. You know, get him on the prelim. Yeah, thank you, Ferris. Get him on the same on the prelims, right? Like if this was UFC, he's a solid prelim fighter. You know, don't put him on the main card.
Yeah. I don't know, but there you go. We talked about it. Okay. There was another fighter. I forget the guy's name. Something. Yeah, he got a second round KO victory. Yeah. Looked good. He's lightweight, I believe, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't get to see the fight.
Yeah, so that's the card. Lots of good fights today. I like look, the Kate Taylor fight started like the card started around 2:00 this afternoon. I've been watching fights all day. I love it.
There's good fights coming up as well. Clarissa Shields is fighting Hannah Gabriels on June 3rd. You got Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez on June 10th. Also on June 10th, Sonny Edwards versus Andres Campos. Jaime Munguia also fighting on June 10th, fighting Sergey. And I know the guy's name. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because it's super long. There's a lot of consonants.
I haven't seen Jaime Munguia fight in like 3 years.
June 17th, Regis Prograis is fighting Liam Paro. Then we got Tim Zhu on June 18th for fighting Carlos Ocampo. And then jumping ahead, Edgar Berlanga making his comeback on June 24th against Jason Quigley. And then in July, you got Jared Anderson headlining an event. There's going to be, Tiger Johnson's going to be on that card as well. And jumping way ahead, July 25th, possibly the fight of the year. My man Monster Inoue up against Mike's guy.
Cool Boy Steph.
The worst nickname in boxing.
About to shock the world, baby.
Yep, let's go.
It's not going to shock the world. Everybody expects him to lose.
No, he's going to win. He's going to win.
He ain't winning.
All right. Okay, we're going to find out.
July 25th from Tokyo, and it looks like it may not even be pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, it's hard to sell pay-per-view when you have to get up at 4 a.m. to watch it.
It just says ESPN Plus. I'm not sure.
His last fight was like a Tuesday morning. It was like
that's how they do
8 a.m.
We're gonna have a post-fight reaction at like 7:30. I'll be in traffic. Mikey will be at work.
Yeah.
I hate to break this to you, Mike. This fight is on Tuesday as well.
I know, yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Because they're fighting in Tokyo, and that's how they do it.
Why?
And then, of course, how could I forget August 5th, Jake Paul, Nate Diaz.
You know what's happening the day before that?
What's happening the day before that, Mike?
Just the roundup meet and greet on August 4th. So yeah. Make
no,
sure
you
y'all
said
get
25th, right?
No, he said August 5th.
August 5th. Oh. Yeah, okay. Oh, my bad. Listen, my bad. Ask that question again.
You guys know what's happening on August 4th?
What's happening on August 4th?
Yes, August 4th for our audio listeners, because this is going to be a podcast as well. What you just heard was our promo for the Roundup meet and greet, August 4th, happening in Columbia, Maryland. Get your tickets now on Eventbrite. I'll drop the link in the description. It's going to be a meet and greet with ourselves, Coach Evans from Sip to Tally Films, Chris Just Joking from the Deep Cover Podcast, and our guy Hendo from the Rogue Pod. All right. It's going to be food, drinks, music. It's going to be a lot of fun. You will enjoy yourselves. All right. Get your tickets today. All right. Because we do have a limited amount we can sell there because, you know, space issue and all that. Okay. Let's see. Ferris says, we're getting out of here soon, Ferris. Ferris says, why hasn't anyone asked Monster why Tuesdays? Because that's when they fight in Japan. You don't have to ask him that. Like, he's fighting in Japan. That's when he's gonna fight. Yeah, that's what they do there. I don't know. They're called maybe Tuesday is like their weekend. I don't know.
And I watched the last one, and like the stadium was. I mean, it was a lot of people there, but they were silent. Like it was no cheering
because they respect the craft.
I guess. I love cool boy from Philly, so he used to a raucous crowd. So I don't know how he gonna handle that.
You don't be freaked out. That's how and his body ain't gonna be ready to fight on a Tuesday either.
Shock the world though.
I feel like they're into weekend prime times, but those are reserved strictly for sumo. Sumo's huge over there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're like, yeah, Monster, we love you, but you can never have Saturday nights, right? unless you gain 300 pounds and you're trying to become a Yokozuna, right? Tuesday is your night. Yeah. All right. We got out of here. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm tired.
I'm tired too. I'm tired. I gotta get up in like 4 hours.
Why?
Yeah. I gotta take April to the airport. Yeah. So
okay then.
Yeah, there's that. All right, guys. Thank you so much. If you're still here, I don't know how you guys are still here almost 3 a.m. I mean,
we appreciate y'all, man.
We appreciate you. Yes. Yeah. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to Ferris. Thank you, Will G, for the thoughtful questions, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Rock, as always, for the spirited debate. One Mike History. Subscribe to our guy Mike from One Mike History right there. Great content. If you watch our lunch break hot take show every Wednesday, we do a Black History fact. This man gives you great Black History facts, and we're going to try to get him on the show in the near future. So he can spit it the way he does, man.
Hey, y'all ever wonder why Black people like Cadillacs? Go to One Mike History.
Mike will tell you. He working on podcast right now. Yep. There you go.
Got it.
That. All right, we are out of here.
No, we're not ready. Filibuster for a minute.
Okay. I got a filibuster. Fair says just stay up. I will not stay up. Stay up. I can get 4. Listen, when you have kids, 4 hours of sleep, you'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take that. No, I'm not giving up any sleep. I don't care if it's 20 minutes. I'm gonna take that nap. Did I feel filibuster enough? Or do I need to keep going?
I mean, you did a pretty good job. Like I needed about like 30 more seconds, but we're all good now.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, but I appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, we got a donation. I see. All right. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Will
bro.
G. Do not fear a man that.
No, that was just
Oh,
a lot of thing. He didn't leave a comment, but if you had a comment and you just forgot to put it in there, just go ahead and put it in the chat.
okay,
I
okay.
don't know why when I delete the random text that they put in there, it just refills it.
You said I hope that went through, guys. Great post-fight show. Thank you, Will.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Will.
so much.
Appreciate it, Will G.
Yes. All right. Now, B, are you ready?
I am always ready to end the show. So.
B is ready. Hey, hope you enjoyed the fight. Get some rest. Hope you sleep in tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time. Peace.